The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
This is Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses, and I am Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
Welcome back, anybody that's joining us for another episode, and any new-time listeners. We appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Welcome.
So here we are. We're episode 7.
Episode 7.
And what is the title of this one?
This is The Laws of Attraction and Vibration.
I like this one.
Yes?
It kind of has that mystery about it.
I like to talk about it, too, because I think that it is something important that a lot of people don't even realize.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Cool.
But first, why don't we talk about a couple of things that I have?
Let's do it.
So we had a comment on our last episode that was about surviving grief. I really liked that episode. I hope that we helped some people with that. But I know that we did because a couple of people have said that. And
absolutely.
This is one of them. Loved this episode. My heart stopped when Samantha said that she lost her dog suddenly due to hemangiosarcoma. That's what happened to our boy and the reason I'm here. Hearing that really made me think and come to the realization that I didn't stumble upon this by accident. Something or someone guided me to you. Thank you both so much for doing this.
Awesome.
That's great. That makes
sweet.
me so happy.
Yeah, thanks for, giving us the feedback. And I'm really glad something did bring you to it.
Me too. I really do believe that those things happen for a reason. That there's a reason why, like, people are brought to me. And this was something that I was actually told when I first got into this work, was that people that are that need you will be attracted to you. They may not know why. Right. And I do. Sometimes I get messages from people that are like, I don't know why I'm messaging you. I just feel like I need to. Right. Just random strangers that have issues that I can help them with.
Law of attraction.
Yeah.
And exactly. I think, it's so nice because so much of the reason why we're doing this and what you do is for animals and the connection we have and,
yes,
kind of realizing they're as much of a spirit and a being as we are.
I did a reading for a lady today that had to put her lab down on Saturday. And, well, she had told me, first of all, that she had a lab previously that lived to be 21 years old.
Wow.
And I was like, please tell me what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because,
holy moly.
But this one that she had to put down, he was 12 years old and he was ready. I mean, he had a lot of the same problems that most labs get. And it was time for him, but for her, it was devastating. Yeah. It was so. I really do, as much as those readings are hard for me, I do enjoy doing them and helping people with that grief because I've been there and I know how hard that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you do.
Yes. Okay. And then I actually have a really nice story that I felt the need to share.
Please do.
This was posted onto my free reading group today. If you don't know about my free reading group, this is on Facebook. And the name of the group is Free Pet Psychic Medium and Astrology Readings and Spiritual Growth. That's a mouthful, huh? But it sets us apart,
Oh, yeah.
There's so many of these free reading groups. But anyways, so that's my group. And what we do in this group is miniature, like, free readings. We do, like, snippet readings for people. And so this lady, Tara,
It's awesome, by the way. It's a cool group. I do drive-bys and just read some of them sometimes. I don't really comment on them very much, but
yeah,
it's amazing.
I really love it. It's a lot of fun to get to just go in and tell these people their animals' personalities. Right. And, because sometimes they just want to know, tell me what my dog has to say, So anyways, so Tara had posted this today. It says, just want to extend a heartfelt thanks to Chelsea. Chelsea, by the way, is the other group owner. We started this group together about a year ago. She is a wonderful medium and animal communicator.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
You are, Chelsea.
So going on. It says, I posted last week about a dog we surrendered to an animal shelter because our landlord didn't want us to keep him. Chelsea, you told me Storm was scared and depressed at the shelter. That was enough for me. I rang the shelter and they said he wasn't coping and they were going to euthanize him. I went and got him back immediately. Ironically, the day after we brought him home, a very cheap pet-friendly home became available to rent, and I have applied for it.
Awesome.
Yes. And she says, it feels wonderful having Storm home. Thank you so much, Chelsea.
Right. Again, it's like the laws of attraction. Like this person is seeking this,
Yes.
you know, from a pure place, an unselfish place.
Right.
And bam, look at it. Just sort of something pops up.
These readings are hard. I remember when that reading came up on the page because it was hard for me to respond to it. So I passed by it and I let Chelsea do it. And I'm glad that I did.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's hard for us to tell people these kinds of things. We don't want them to feel bad about what they've done. Not that we lie, but for me, if I feel something bad like that and I really don't want to share it, I'll just let, Chelsea do it or because it is really difficult. So the fact that Chelsea picked up on that and that this lady listened and took care of this situation is just wonderful. It's just, and it absolutely was meant to be.
Yeah. Bravo, Chelsea.
Yes. Thank you. So that was my wonderful story I had to share.
Cool. Yeah. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
I think so.
All right.
So that's all I have.
That's all for the recap. Week. All right. Yep. Well, let's jump on into episode 7.
Episode 7, the laws of attraction and vibration.
All right.
Okay. So we've had a little bit of a discussion earlier, and you had mentioned to me that this topic confused you a little bit because of what you believe that the laws of attraction or the law of attraction was.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to make sure we weren't using any kind of Hollywood sort of law of attraction, like, oh, I'm so attracted to this person.
Well, and after you said that, I was wondering if other people might think the same way. And that's really not what this is about. It's more about getting back what you give.
Yes.
So the definition of the law of attraction is that it's the belief that positive thoughts get positive results and negative thoughts get negative results. And I absolutely agree with that.
I agree. You know, it seems to have taken me many times in life to learn that. And I revisit it even now and then.
Yes.
And I learn over and over again.
Right.
That really truly is the case.
It is. And it is hard to remember because for whatever reason, for us, especially, I have this problem especially, is that I tend to forget that if you put out that negative energy, that's what you're going to get back. Yeah. I just want to, like, if I'm in a bad mood, I want to go out there and be in a bad mood and let somebody put me in a good mood, and it doesn't work like that.
No.
You know what I mean? But I do notice that when I'm down and really don't want to talk, and then somebody that's happy and cheerful comes in, that it cheers me up. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
It is, you absolutely get back what you give.
Yeah, because I have, been in a mood at some point and somebody entered the room that just kind of lit it up.
Oh, yeah.
At a moment where I really needed that. Mm-hmm. And it kind of relieves your mind of whatever you were, the moment you were in. Again, that person's vibrations just raised it.
Absolutely. And then we'll get into that, into the vibration, raising your vibrations. But the story for you from the other day actually was that I was having a rough day and I had a new client consultation. For those of you that don't know, my main job is I'm a pet sitter. I had this new client consultation and I didn't want to go because I was just in a foul mood, and it's like, well, am I really going to be presentable to this new client? But anyways, it's business. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So I went out to do the new client consult, and this woman was so cheerful, and just not in like an annoying cheerful kind of way, but in like a genuine, happy, I could be friends with this woman type of way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when I left that house, I felt completely different than when I got there.
I did like that about my, working with the public that you could just have a moment with somebody, and it necessarily wasn't hours, or days, but it was a moment where they could just cross your path and kind of affect you.
Right.
In a positive way and pull you out of something that you might, a funk or something that was going on, even a moment at work or something. But
yes,
I always really loved that and really appreciated the vibrations, certain people's vibrations.
Right. Absolutely. There was something that I wrote down here that I really thought that kind of touched me on this, is that all thoughts turn into things eventually. If you focus on gloom and doom, you will remain under that cloud.
Yep.
And that is very true. And I had asked some people what they felt about the law of attraction, what, it meant to them, and if they had any questions about it. And one of the girls that I had talked to, she said, well, what about happy, good people that think positively, but bad things happen to them? And so I started kind of pulling that apart and thinking about it. And really what it is, in my opinion, is not that you're not putting out that good and getting good back. It's that we all experience bad things. It's not like you can just, put constant good out and expect that you're never going to have anything bad happen, because that's not life.
No.
Do you know what I mean? We have to learn lessons. And if that's all it was, then where would the lessons be?
It's not reality, and if we've touched on it, there's a lot of facets, I think, for that, that why do bad things happen to good people? I mean, we talked a little bit about that with free will.
Yes.
So there's many different reasons. It doesn't mean that person deserved something that was unseen by everybody else.
Not at all. Not at all. But something else, another part of this that I think people forget, is that your intentions have to be pure.
Yes. If
you're going to go out there and, like, I do this, I'm really, really guilty of this, that I will be out and somebody will cut me off and I'll be like, and get all uptight. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be fine. And then I'm still like, but under my breath, I'm like, it doesn't work. You have to have the pure intention to go into it and say, I'm just going to, be happy and not pretend to be happy. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, as humans, and the way we're taught, especially in this day and age, it's not easy to wake up every day and face the world and go, today I'm just going to focus on love, just loving people, sending out the good vibrations.
Yes.
And that is the challenge. That is the lesson here. And some people master it. Great. I'm not a master of anything, but I'm sure willing to give it a try.
Yes.
So
I really have been. I've really been trying to focus on this because I have seen it work. And I briefly talked about that, how I've surrendered to all of this. I felt for a long time like I was trying to make my own path that I wasn't supposed to do, right? So I just decided I was going to hand it over to the universe and say, whatever it's going to be, just do it. And I'm just going to sit back and let you.
Right.
And that may sound crazy, but that's what I have done. And there have been some changes that I have had to make in my life because of that process that are really the law of attraction that I never even thought about.
Right.
Like, for example, I'm 5 feet tall. Okay. So it's very hard for me when I'm in a large crowd of people for people to acknowledge that I'm there. And because I've been treated my entire life like I'm a little person, I have a tendency to, what's the word that you would use for it, babe? I slouch. I kind of like recluse a little bit.
It comes off as like timid.
Right.
So you maybe hunch a little, you're shying away.
Right. But I never really looked at that as a way of attracting people to me, that I was pushing people away with that.
Right.
By doing that, for me, avoiding eye contact and hunching over a little bit and just going on with, what I'm doing, it was a way to protect myself. But really I was making people, I believe, think that I just wasn't interested.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I've had to look at that, and my mom will remind me when I'm doing it too. Right. Lift your shoulders, lift your head, and walk positively and feel positive, because you can walk with that positivity, but if you're not really feeling it inside, people are going to tell that.
Yeah, and it's just, it can be as simple as you're on a hike and you pass somebody on the pathway, and you hold your head up and you acknowledge, whether you say hello or smile, but you're sending out something positive.
Yes.
Even if walking by with your head down and saying nothing isn't really anything malicious or, rude or intentional,
right?
It still doesn't give off that positivity.
Right.
So, but we all have learned bad habits from our upbringing, so I don't blame you at all there.
And, I'm actually a really shy person. Like, here I'm behind a microphone. You can't see me. That makes things a lot easier for me. If there wasn't a camera in here right now, I would be like, turn
it off.
Yeah, seriously, I just can't handle it. So,
but the thing that you brought up is something in that comment. I think it was in the definition about stormy cloud. That when I went through that career change, and I sat around for a little while, really kind of sulking in that, stormy cloud,
right.
And kind of wondering, God, if it wasn't for my wife, actually, she's the one that really kicked me in the ass.
Well, my mom was the help for that too. But
yeah, I mean, it just got me to at least do one more, because the last one I had done was like high school, 1990. Just do one more, try it, see what's there.
You didn't say what you're talking about. So I would start and say what you're talking about your pictures, because you're saying do one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. Do another painting. Like, because the last one I had done was about 1990 and walked away from it, kind of focused on music. So, pick it up, just do one more and see what it's like. And I felt like I can't really I can't walk away from this again.
No.
So, but I sat in that stormy cloud and put that out, and that's exactly what I was getting back.
Right.
But the minute that I put that energy into a positive thing and actually put it down onto a piece of paper or a piece of artboard, then that energy came back positive.
Right.
So,
yes.
It's just a learning process. And sometimes it's over and over again.
Right.
You feel like you're pounding your head against the wall.
And it's not just like these types of things. It's also attracting money to yourself, because that is something that has been a big change for me, is that I have had to learn to surrender to not stressing about money.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
It is. It's a lesson. There's a lot of lessons that I've had to go through in this becoming a medium process. I've had to examine pretty much everything about myself. And my issues with money were one of them. And I've now gotten to a point where I don't do numbers in my head anymore about how much money is in my bank account. I don't spend money on things that I don't need to spend money on, but I also try and bring it to myself. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
By doing good things, by putting good out, by doing free readings, I get the paid readings back. By helping with animals in the community, I get pet sits. It all works out like that. And it really was that moment that I surrendered and said, I'm just going to let what happens happen.
Yeah. That
it really did start coming. I'm not saying that we have a lot of money and I'm swimming in money. What I'm saying is that we've been able to provide for our family during a very difficult time because, in my opinion, we have been able to change our thought process on money.
Yeah.
And re-examine things and the law of attraction, really.
It's the truth. I mean, the bottom line in layman's terms is the less important I make it, the more it's there available as I need it.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to say I don't spend money on things I don't need. I do
we
sometimes.
all do, but
not lavish things I don't need,
right.
But yeah, in order to create something, obviously, it takes money on some level to make money.
Right.
But it doesn't take that much.
No.
Not for the rewards if, like you said, they're pure and you stay focused on that goal and purity, I guess.
I read this quote today and it really kind of hit with me. It says, "Always remember, money is the servant and you are the master." Money shouldn't be what rules your life. And I believe in the law of attraction. When you learn that and you change that money flows easier.
Again, it's just a terrible thing that I think we've taught our society, that your stature is based on your money. Right. So many things are based on your income. Right. And I don't know. It's sad that it has to be that way, but that's just how our world is.
It is. And I was thinking earlier about if everybody would just do a little bit nice, if they would do a nice thing for somebody, that it would be a chain reaction, and that maybe we could change some things in this world. It really is that easy. Mm-hmm. We complicate it. We make it so difficult. It doesn't have to be. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't have to.
Yeah. That part about things makes me really sad, because what we do to ourselves, the misery that we feel, we do to ourselves. Yeah. If you are, we all have issues. Some people have mental illness and depression. And of course, that's not what we're talking about. That doesn't really fit into here. But I think that if everybody listening to this went out and did something nice for somebody, no matter, small or big, and see how it makes them feel and see how it makes the other person feel, it's a chain reaction. And you'll want to do it more. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Like, for example, if we took one day of the year, let's just start with one day of the year, and instead of celebrating Thanksgiving or Christmas or Halloween or whatever calendar holiday that comes to your mind, and we said, we're going to invent this holiday, and today is Vibration Day. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine what kind of energy or things that would happen in that 24-hour period if everybody did that?
Right.
And then took it even further and decided to do it for another day, and maybe another day, and another day. It's asking mankind or society, even globally, to change their mindset for just one day.
Right.
And see what happens.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I think there would be so much magic that would expose itself to us if we would just melt our pride and our egos, let it all go just for 24 hours and try that. I think, like that movie, like we talked about before, same concept really, but and the vibrations in itself, when you think about it, and I've mentioned this before, is that I've felt these kind of vibrations in many different environments.
Right.
I've gone to church and I've felt them. I've gone to concerts and felt them. Meetings and felt them.
Right.
And that collective energy where everybody in the room, or a majority of the people in the room, are raising their vibrations to meet one another, something magical happens.
Right.
And you can't see it, you can't smell it, can't hear it, but you could feel it.
Right.
And on an internal level, and a psychological level.
I think we should talk a little bit about vibrations and what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What makes vibrations?
Right. Okay. So what does raising your vibration mean? Really what that means is like what we're talking about here, that you are putting out positive. And when you put out positive, you feel better. Everything vibrates. Everything is energy. Everything. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So vibrations, let's see, I wrote down here, vibrations raise when you change your mindset to positive. And that is definitely, absolutely. We talk about this all the time, that when we're having a bad day, our vibrations are lower. When we're having a good day, they're higher. Right. And you feel better. And so when we named this episode, and originally it was the law of attraction. And then I started digging deeper into this. I learned that actually the law of attraction is only secondary to the law of vibration. Mm-hmm. So what I wrote here is, in order for the law of attraction to work, you have to raise your vibrations. The law of attraction is a byproduct of the law of vibration. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because vibration, if you want to narrow it down, can be traced to something tangible, as where attraction is more of a sense.
Right. Absolutely.
And maybe you can elaborate a little bit about that, like what makes vibration actually physically possible, meaning our molecular structure.
Oh, yes. I like this. This was interesting that I read. Let me find this. So there is, let's see, what would you call this? This is kind of like a flow chart a little bit, right?
Basically, yeah.
This talks about energy and that everything is energy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it starts with what makes up our system as a human, and that is tissues and organs. What are tissues and organs made of? They're made of cells. What makes the cells? Molecules. What makes a molecule? Atoms. What makes an atom? Subatomic particles. And what makes subatomic particles? Energy.
Yep.
So that flow chart right there just
shows you. And that goes for everything, not just human beings. This desk right here that we record all this on that's the same thing.
Everything.
It has molecular structure. That's a hard word to get out.
Right? That's a difficult word.
So atoms naturally vibrate.
Yes.
And are moving. And it even got deeper when it talked about the structure of the energy around. Did you discuss that? How the molecule or the atom itself and the energy, the parts around it?
No, I don't think I put that in here.
Oh, okay. Well, it basically was describing, but that outer layer, I believe, of the molecule, there was actually the word energy or something in that outer layer.
Yes.
So, I mean, everything's moving, even if it's still. It
really is mind-blowing. Like, it's really hard to wrap my head around, to be quite honest, that everything is really made up of the same thing, and that is energy. Mm-hmm. So then we started doing some more research today, and I came across this article, and there were a few really interesting things in this article. And to paraphrase, they were talking about if you take a piece of paper and you rip that piece of paper, and then you put that piece underneath the microscope, that you can actually see the energy. Mm-hmm. You can see it, that it's changed vibration, right? So then I started going deeper into this, and this is something that I've always talked about, that oxygen, we can't see it,
right?
We can't smell it, we can't taste it, but we believe that it's there. I've always we know it's there.
Yeah.
I've compared that to psychic ability, because it's like we can't see it.
Right.
We can't see the psychic ability, but
it's a great comparison,
there.
Yeah.
So this I found really interesting when I read this earlier. Consider oxygen. It is something that we use every day, and each of us realize how crucial it is for our survival. Yet we aren't able to experience it with touch, taste, smell, hearing, or feelings. The fact that we can't experience it with these senses certainly doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Right. We know it does. The reason that we are unable to sense it with our physical sensory perceptions is because its rate of vibration is outside our physical ability to do so.
Right.
It also talks about that dogs can hear whistles that we can't hear. Mm-hmm. Same reason.
Right.
They can see things that we can't see. Same reason. They have the different level of vibrations, and that they can see different things and they can hear different things. It's all about vibrations.
Well, yeah, and again, I think those extra senses we're talking about that you can some can tap into, some can't. I think that was kind of written from a standpoint of most people don't have these senses.
Right.
But I can assure you that vibrations can definitely be sensed.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Those can, that goes for negative, that goes for positive.
Yes.
So, like I was saying, in some of these occasions and places that I've been in my life, and those moments that I've experienced, the vibrations are amazing. Like move to the point where they move me.
Right.
Emotionally.
Right.
And physically. Makes your hair stand up on your arms or the back of your neck, brings you to tears. It's like almost like a complete surrender.
Yes.
Or at that single moment, it all makes sense.
Right.
You know, that love is really of the most importance in all of this equation, is sending out that vibration, that good, positive energy, that love.
Absolutely. So sometimes people ask me what they can do to raise their vibration. So I wrote down a few things, and I put change your thought process, which is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Practice kindness. Really, it goes farther than you can even imagine. Drinking water. Sometimes it just rehydrates you. When you're dehydrated, your vibration's going to be low too.
Right.
Okay. Meditation. That is for me, I think probably for you too, one of the ways that I am most able to raise my vibration, because it makes me shut my mind down and calm. Calm is very important when you're stressed, when you're tense. It is really hard to feel good and to have that high vibration.
It is.
It is. It's, yeah.
But, you know, again, and I kind of forgot to add that. And even though I was with you too when this happened, but when we went to Yosemite and we went through that long, treacherous, winding road to get to the valley.
Loved it, but...
But I'll tell you what, I got into that valley and I was overwhelmed emotionally. I could feel the vibrations that were there, like so heavy, it just overcame me.
And that was going to be my next thing. You must have read my mind, was going into nature.
That is really it. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily always be a group of people, but that helps. But it can totally be solitary. It can absolutely be solitary.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, for me, sometimes it's better for me to go into nature by myself, because I can just completely quiet myself out.
Right.
You know, where there's, you know, if we're talking, if there's a bunch of us. So yeah, nature definitely creates its own vibration. I don't think that, you know, you need a lot more than that.
Not at all.
Yeah. So, but when you're in nature, another way to raise your vibration is by grounding yourself. And how you do that, and Danny loves this topic because he loves to walk around barefoot, don't you?
I hate it. But I'm going to share something when you're done. Go ahead.
Oh, boy. Okay. So the best way that you can ground yourself is to go out into nature and take your shoes off so that you're on natural earth. And you can do visualizations. I actually do this every day, but I do it mostly in the shower just because it's like my relaxing time.
Yeah.
But how you can ground yourself is to imagine that you're a tree, and then your roots are going into the ground. And so you imagine your roots spreading all through the ground.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like act like you're going to walk, and you can feel that you're protected. Right. Nothing can hurt you, right?
Kind of like a self-meditation. You're sort of taking yourself like on a little journey or imaginative thing.
You're connected to the earth.
Right.
And the earth has your back is basically what grounding is. It really is. It's its own meditation. It's one of the things that I have to do every day in order for my vibrations to be high enough to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Well, I was going to share with you, I think it was yesterday. You know, I haven't been out in nature lately, so, well, maybe it's been a few days or a week or something, but anyways, it's like, I need to do something. And Samantha, you know, this thing with the bare feet thing has come up before, but so I'm like, well, I really can't take off split from home right now, but I'm going to walk out in the backyard, and I just have my slippers on, but I had socks on. So I'm standing out there, and it was really pretty outside. You know, last few days have just been gorgeous. You know, clouds and blue sky and nice weather.
Yeah.
So I actually was like, you know what? Took my socks off.
Whoa.
But it was funny because I was sort of methodical about it. I put my slippers directly in a place where they were very accessible by one step in and one step out. But I did. I took them off and I stepped back and I stood in the dirt and I just kind of closed my eyes and just relaxed my whole body and just focused not so much on that part, imagining like myself as a tree, but just the warmth of the sun and the listening to the birds, just trying to remove my thoughts out of my head, get away from me for a second, and all the troubles and worries and things like that that cloud us. But it's so important. And I'll tell you what, that 5 minutes helped me.
Did you feel a difference, do you think, with your shoes on?
Yeah, I felt a little grossed out.
Well, I mean, we have two giant dogs.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's why I don't walk around barefoot around here, because we have two wet-mouthed dogs that just drool everywhere.
Yeah.
So you never know where there's a puddle lurking.
You really don't. It's
you know, and then you're standing in the backyard going, God, I wonder how many millions of times these dogs have peed right where I'm standing. But okay, I'm just going to go ahead and get zen here for a second.
I would say go to Corriganville and do it, but
rattlesnakes, sorry.
Right, exactly.
If I have to run, I don't run barefoot.
No, that wouldn't go well.
So
that would hurt.
But I just wanted to share that with you.
I'm very proud of you for that. That's awesome. Yeah. I love to be barefoot. If I think it is important all the time, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that grosses you out, but whatever. So I was thinking about a couple of other like small things to help you, our listeners, raise your vibration, because I know that this, for a lot of people, is a new concept, and you're probably thinking that I don't even know how to do this. So aside from my grounding meditation that I told you about, there's other things that you can do, other small meditations. I find that for myself, it's very important for me to meditate in the shower, because it is the only actual quiet time that I know I'm going to have all day.
Yeah.
I can't hear the dogs in there if they bark, well, unless they're barking right outside the window. But for the most part, it's quiet. Yeah. And sometimes I will turn on music, and even regular music, like, can be meditation music. Yeah. I love Pink Floyd, Steve Miller Band, Scorpions. Right. Those are all things that I meditate to, which may sound crazy, but they have so many different things, like, you know, chimes and whistles, whatever, that those are things that really draw you in. But anyways, in the shower, there's things that you can do to meditate that are really simple. Like when the water's running over you, just imagine that water is rinsing you clean of your negative energy, of all of those negative things that you woke up with that morning, maybe, or that if you're a nighttime shower, those things that happened to you in the day, imagine them washing off of you and going down the drain.
Yeah, even just the sound of the water and focusing on that can be enough to put you in some sort of calming state, you know? It's not like you're leaving your body. It's just...
Oh, no, not at all.
You're calming yourself, and you're meditating to a point where...
Yes.
You can relax.
And it doesn't have to be like a half-hour meditation. That's why I'm kind of giving these little pointers on things, because these are small things that you can do, you know, like I said, in the shower, or if you're going into a meeting at work or something and you only have a few minutes and you can sit for a few minutes in your car by yourself. Another one that I practice often is where I take a deep breath and I visualize like good energy going into my nose or my mouth. And then when I exhale, I'm blowing out that negative. And
oh yeah, I do that.
Do you? And you can actually, like, if you visualize the negative coming out, like, is it black, like black smoke or something?
Letting it go.
Right. And then every time that you do that, you visualize that black, that getting lighter and lighter until it's clear. That is a really, really good way to calm yourself.
Right.
To, you know, it's just a small meditation, but really to raise your vibration, to calm yourself. These are just wonderful tips to
Another thing too is, I mean, a lot of what I surround myself with is artistic things. If there's something that you can do that helps you kind of get lost, for a little bit. If it's like you do pottery,
right,
or photography, or you draw, or you paint, or you play an instrument, taking those times to focus on something, because not only are you stimulating your mind, you're raising your vibrations, you're putting out positivity, but you're exiting from your own thoughts for some time. You know what I mean? It's good.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. And I can't tell you, when we practice here, the vibrations are amazing.
Yeah.
It like, I know for you guys aren't necessarily in the room, but the room itself, it becomes like lit up. It's
we can feel it for sure out there. Yeah.
And like I said, there's so many photographs where you just see all these orbs. And I think that's one thing to connect to this, is that when we're raising our vibrations to the level of the other side's vibrations.
Yeah, that's a whole other experience.
Then I think that's really when the magic starts to happen. You start to see that change.
Yes.
And when you're, undoubtedly having that faith and putting out there the good as best as you can, and your intentions are pure and as selfless as they can be.
Right.
That's when the magic really starts to happen.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think what you're saying is great, because music is something that can really, really raise your vibration. Mm-hmm. Really. Like if I'm having a bad morning and I go out and walk the dog or whatever, I will put music on, and by the time that I'm done, I will feel 100% better. You have to be careful with the music selection that you make. Obviously, You're not going to listen to like downer type music, but I have a playlist on my phone that is just positive, upbeat songs. The New Radicals, you get what you give. I know you're not a big fan of that song.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
But it's one that pumps me up.
Oh, yeah.
And there's another one.
Make sure you're connected.
Yeah. Stereo MC, Connected. That's another one. I can't wait to do a whole episode about music, because it really is such a wonderful thing to raise your vibration. It just, I will have times, actually most days now, that I'll get the full body chills instantly, like just from a few notes.
I read a report recently where they said doctors in England are starting to prescribe music therapy.
Oh, I love that.
You know what? I think it has such healing power.
It is
for
so much better,
your mind, your soul, your internal organs. It just has amazing power. I'm honored and thrilled that I'm able to do it on some level. I'm no maestro by any means. I've put in the effort to learn it, but I respect it. And I've gotten to a point where I can almost do that. Once I know the song well enough, I can like disconnect and I just drop into a trance. And it's such an amazing feeling. It's the closest thing to like out of body experience that I could explain.
Absolutely. We went to see Train and Hall & Oates last year. And I had only known that I was a medium for a few months when we saw them. Mm-hmm. And this was my first experience of being in a large auditorium, because it was at the Forum. Yep. And the Forum is very large. And there's one song that Train does. There's actually a few that remind me of my mom, but there was one in particular. What is the name of that song? That when I look to the sky, something tells me you're near with me. That one. Yeah. And everybody had their phones out, and they, they were the lighters of today. And
no burnt thumbs.
No, that's true. It's much easier. But the vibrations in that room were so high, I started crying. Yeah. It was incredible. It was one of the most incredible experiences I've had with that type of thing. I started seeing visions. It was just absolutely crazy. Yeah. I love that. I can't wait to go to our next concert, because I want to experience that again.
I love it. And Marina got to go with that with us too, which was made her suffer through some old Daryl Hall and John Oates. Bring it on.
Yeah, that was an interesting show, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But it was good. Bring back a lot of memories. I love Train too, but just hearing those Hall & Oates songs brought back a lot of memories. Wow. Yeah, the vibrations were incredible there. It was cool.
I have a new joke for myself, which I've told you this one already, because now music does touch me like that. And the other day I was driving and I don't even know what came over me, but the song Happy by Pharrell Williams came on the radio and I started crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is wrong with you? And nothing's wrong with me. It's just that the music raises my vibrations and it touches me so much that I start crying.
You're looking over at the car next to you, like, tears of joy. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, and that song used to make me crazy. So for it to come on the radio for me to cry. And so then we heard it the other day. I think we were at the candy store or something and it came on. I was like, you better watch out because I'm going to start crying.
I always say, here's your jam.
Yeah.
Get out the tissues because we're about to get happy.
You know, a couple of other things that I don't even know that we've had this conversation about, things that raise your vibrations. Eating properly.
Yes.
It really does make a difference. They say that you are what you eat, and it really is true. Like, if I love junk food, I can eat and eat and eat and eat chocolate and sweets.
Yep,
love
me
it
too.
But like I just mentioned, we went to the candy store a few days ago, and I was like plowing through that candy, and I'm like, I'm going to feel like crap tomorrow. I know it. I am.
I know,
and I did. And it was just like dragging, and that affects your vibration. Yeah. It absolutely does.
Yeah, I mean, you got to live a little, moderation.
Well, yeah, moderation for everything.
But it's true. Yeah, it's, again, you're putting into your body, you're going to get back what you're putting into it, just like the vibrations, what you're putting out to the world and the universe is what you're going to get back.
Absolutely.
I learn it over and over, you know.
Every day is a different journey, and it's like you wake up in the morning and you decide what kind of day you're going to have. Really, it's really difficult still for me because like every morning I wake up and I try to immediately be like, okay, today is going to be good. But that's just not logical for a lot of us. And you have to, push yourself into that direction a lot of times so that you can start the day off right and have those high vibrations. But you can change that during the day at any time. Like, I think one of the misconceptions is that if you're having a bad day, that whole day has to be bad.
No.
It's a couple minutes of your day, maybe an hour of your day, but you can still change whatever is negative. You can still change that and move on with your day. Do you know what I mean?
I think kind of for me, what I tried to do coming out of that stormy cloud I was talking about earlier was just literally waking up and telling myself the night before as I went to sleep, try to remember when you wake up, the first thing you do when you open your eyes is think the word gratitude.
Right.
For whatever reason, just say that word either out loud or in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That really helped me.
Did it?
It helped me kind of turn a corner, and because then immediately you're like, oh man, you start thinking about all these things you're so like stoked for.
Right.
And then you start realizing all the love that these other people that have affected you deserve.
Right.
For what they've done in your life and how they've affected you or me.
Right.
Talking about me. So yeah, like that helps me get the day started. But you're right. Even if it's, man, I got up and I thought about gratitude. I went out and had a flat tire and that just ruined my whole day.
Right.
Well, no, you're just giving in to, negativity.
And how you start your day or how you go into something is definitely how the experience that you're going to have. Right. So like what you just said about a flat tire, nobody wants a flat tire.
No.
But if you're in a bad mood, you're going to maybe do something you wouldn't do if you were in a positive mood. Get out, kick your car, or, yell at it or start cussing or whatever the case may be. But if you are, your vibration's higher and you're having a better day, you might just be like, well, crap. And you know what? You deal with it and you move on because these things happen to us. It doesn't mean that the whole day is bad or the whole week has to be bad. It's just a bad moment. And it is really about changing your thought process on that. And that can be very difficult. But when you have one of those thoughts enter your mind, like, even if it's something like, I hate my job, okay? You're putting that out into the universe. I hate my job.
Yeah.
Instead, maybe try and find the positive in it. I'm really lucky I have this job so that I can provide for my family.
Yeah.
It changes everything. It changes the way you look at things. It changes the way people look at you. It changes the vibrations.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really does.
It's all a chain reaction.
Yes. And it's healthier for you as everybody,
right,
to not stress over all of these things, right, and to just understand that bad things happen to all of us. It doesn't mean that that you're not a part of the law of attraction. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, you can't look at it as it doesn't exist or it's not right because bad things happen, because they happen to everybody. And this was actually something that I wanted to mention in another episode, but there is a book called When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And I read this book after my mom passed, and it really, it hit me on a lot of different levels. And if you're having a problem in this area where you feel like maybe you're a good person and you're just not getting that back, read this book. The author's name is Harold Kushner. It really, it explains these things. It's like one of the things it talks about is that if you see a fire and you're in your car and you're driving and you see that fire and you say, oh, please don't let that be my house. If you pray, please don't let that be my house. I'll do anything. Don't let it be my house. And you get there and it's your house. It already was your house. Do you know what I mean? If the fire was there, there's nothing that can be done.
Right.
It's no amount of praying, no amount of positive thinking is going to change that. So instead, I mean, and this is a bad example, but this is one that's in that book. Instead, pray and send thoughts that if there's anybody in that house, that they're okay. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's your house, somebody else's, that they're okay.
Right.
That everybody got out safe and things are going to be okay.
Right.
Not that it's not, the house on fire, because that's already occurring.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And again, the thing, as why does these bad things happen to good people? Bad things happen to everybody.
They do, yeah.
Now, one person in particular might come to your mind and think, oh man, that person, they've been through so much and they've lost so many things and so many people lost their home. But that's happening worldwide.
It is.
There's no secret lottery on the other side that they're pulling numbers going, okay, who is it today, Bob? Who's going unexpectedly and tragically and sad? That's not what's going on.
Right.
And again, because our time frame is completely different than theirs, if something does bad happen, we may not even know in our lifetime the positive that comes out of that bad.
Right.
You might not ever see until you go to the other side and you learn. Or you might actually see something good come from something bad.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we take everything as these events as very traumatic and tragic.
Right.
But again, I'm still a firm believer in everything does happen for a reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if it's to good people or bad people, it's all happening for a reason.
Right.
There's multiple reasons,
yes,
but there are reasons.
Yes. Both of us have had our trials in life, a lot of them. Mm-hmm. I've lost a lot of people. I've been through a horrible divorce. I could just write a list of things in my childhood that sucked. But you know what? Those are the things that make me me. And I don't look at them as like, I'm cursed or there's something wrong with my karma or...
Well, your past doesn't define you.
No. Well, not just that, but I didn't cause those things to happen.
Right.
There was nothing that I did that made my mom die. There's nothing that happened that made the things in my childhood happen to me. Those are just the things that happen in our life. That doesn't mean that the law of attraction isn't working for you.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything like that at all. It's completely separate. So putting out good, you're going to get good back. you really are. Is it going to make your life be perfect? No, it's not. Because there's not one person on this planet that has a perfect life. There really isn't.
No.
Not at all.
And even if there's somebody you see or you know or you admire and your perception is that of them, I'm sure the other, times that this person's life collectively are not perfect.
Well, and that's one of the problems with social media is that people just talk about, you have some Debbie Downers that only talk about the negative in their life. But for the most part, people just show you the highlight reel.
Everything's by face value.
Right.
It's what you see.
Right.
It all has to be tangible and seen for it to exist. And I think this episode really says that no, it doesn't.
Right. No, it doesn't.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Because not everything is what it seems.
No, it's not. No.
Even maybe some of the simplest things we might think, it just isn't. And until you can learn to maybe open your mind to that, then you can really connect to that law of attraction and those vibrations.
Absolutely. And it's a daily thing. It's not like you just get to that point where, you can do that all the time. It's an everyday thing. But really, if I can give our listeners any piece of advice, it's just to have faith and let go and see where this law of vibration and law of attraction can take you, and make it a challenge to wake up one day and say, I'm not going to you can't obviously not think any negative thoughts, but I'm going to be as positive as I can. And when I have a negative thought, I'm going to change it.
Right.
And your day will be completely different than maybe other days that you've experienced where you've just walked around, normal and not trying to do that.
That's great advice.
You will notice the difference. And I'm the worst because I have those days where I'm like, I'm going to be happy today. And then a couple hours later, I'm like,
right.
But so we all do it.
Right.
We all do it. It's like I said, it's an everyday thing, but that's worth
part
a try.
It's part of the journey. You know, not everything is about getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's big.
It's what's everything in between. That's the meat and potatoes. That's what it's all about.
We all want it right now.
Right.
We really do. And I think that's when people don't believe in the law of attraction, when they're like, but I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But things take time.
Yeah.
Things can't just,
Yeah, you got to stop, smell the roses, or in this case, feel the vibrations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, here we are.
Yeah.
We did it. Another hour.
Another hour.
Congratulations.
Hope we didn't confuse everybody, but we tried to explain this topic.
No, I think a lot of the topics are not maybe things that a lot of people would sit down and discuss on a microphone and blast it over
I agree.
the airwaves. So there's no right way or wrong way. We're just kind of talking about those things that
you guys kind of get a little snippet into our life, because even when we're not recording, this is kind of what we do.
Yeah.
We sit around and we talk about these things and try and figure them out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how can we make life better and those things. So.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything you want to share before we wrap this up and say goodbye to everybody?
I do.
Cool.
So I don't want to confuse everybody, but I made some changes to our social media to try and make things a little bit easier. So we have some new links here, okay? So now our Facebook is at Spiritual Joneses. And we also have an Instagram that I just created a few days ago. So that's up. And that is also at Spiritual Joneses.
All right.
And then our Twitter is at Spiritual Jones, because Twitter only wants one of us to be involved. No, just kidding.
Oh, come on, Twitter. Really?
Because Twitter tells us how many letters we can use, and they won't give us the extra ES. So it's just yourself. Jones. So, yeah, Spiritual Jones.
All right.
And then I created an email for us too. So we have our own separate email for the show.
In case you don't have enough.
Gosh,
ways.
You don't even know. Like now I have like 12 of everything. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you need an assistant just to look at that.
I do. No. I really do. Our email is spiritualjoneses@gmail.com. That is us, Spiritual Joneses. Woohoo.
Yay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't really have anything new. I haven't started a new piece yet, but I have the person picked out.
He won't tell you, though.
Nah, not going to give it up. Sorry.
He'll tell me, but I can't tell you.
You're not
either.
allowed
no.
to.
It would not be good.
So, but you'll see it. Check out my pages on Facebook and Instagram, D Jones Art Collection. But Gypsy Brown is going to be back in the studio at it again. We've been working on this demo. Had a little time off here, but we'll be doing that real soon.
Yay.
We're excited about that. To get that going up and finished up as soon as possible.
Great.
And as soon as I have another picture, but Gypsy Brown, you can follow us too on Facebook and internet, gypsybrown.com.
Oh, yeah. We have an Instagram.
Yep. And Instagram, sorry.
Yep.
So, but other than that, yeah, as soon as I have a picture up, another painting, I'll do that. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Awesome. Yeah.
And having fun.
We are. And if you would like a medium or animal communication or psychic reading from me, you can find me on Facebook at Beyond the Bridge 11. Cool. That's me.
Awesome.
Hey.
Well, we really appreciate your guys' time.
We do.
And listening to another hour of Philosophy Chatter.
Yes, and we are looking forward to talking with you again next week.
Yes, we are. Well, everybody have a great week. Take it easy. And peace and love.